Hello, Miss Cherry. So it is a little bit later in the afternoon from when I saw you earlier today, and so hopefully you and your husband will watch the two videos. The first video does last about 57 minutes, and I'm in a Rockwood travel trailer done at the end of last summer, beginning of fall. And especially if he's not camped as much, it'll be worth his time to watch that. Even yourself, I'd be surprised if you don't learn something from watching that video. But now we're in your Alta travel trailer. Libby is filming me, and sometimes I'll forget something and she'll try to remind me. If you hear snoring in the background, that's her. Sometimes she double up. She can sleep while she films me at the same time, okay? I will repeat some things I talk about in the introductory video. I do have the air setting where it will come on. Basically, when we came out here, it's amazing how hot this unit had gotten since you left. And so I've turned the air, well, it will come on, but I haven't got it setting at too cold a temperature. So you may hear it kick in and on because I've got it in the auto position, okay? So be aware that may happen if you hear the air come on. All right, we're going to get started with the gas system. And I am going to talk about my troubleshooting tip page, and it really is a simple concept. Anytime there's a problem with the water heater on gas or the furnace, the oven doesn't work, this is the place to go. What I say is if I can have 3 strong eyes, the pressure is good to the system. If you don't have that, it's almost always a problem at the front, at the regulator, and the 2 bottles, okay? I will go ahead and mention, Dorothy, this does like this, okay? If you hinge it or bend it the wrong way, you will fold it the wrong way, you will bend the hinges. The slots at the very back are for knives. Those slots are to be used for knives. I'll tell you what, make this where we can see a little better. You see the flame. I want to try to show you the 3 flames on this one. Sparker, this will do the oven as well, which is a nice feature. That's not on all coaches. There's 1 strong flame. Second one. Third one, no, they don't light this quickly. I've already lit this again. That's the second time today I've lit it. This one does have the little pop, the little light at the knobs, and it has the light at the oven. So guys, what you can do is you can position the door at an angle, and you can look for the reflection. So I'm going to turn the sparker. All right, I can see the reflection, so now I'm going to go to the oven knob, find the pilot position. I'm going to push in and hold while I spark. And this may take me 30 seconds, may take me 45 seconds, or a minute even to purge the air. I have not purged the air today in the oven. All right, so there's my pilot. And now I have a burner, okay? Most people do not leave that pilot on all the time and consume the gas. All right, we'll stay with our theme of LP gas. It does not apply on the refrigerator. I will talk about that later. It does apply on the water heater. Now, the water heater on this unit is a gas electric, Dorothy, so there are 2 switches. The gas switch is located here on the monitor panel by the entry door. And so if I turn this on, this is a Suburban water heater. When I turn that water heater switch on, that's dealing with the gas only, I get a fault light up above, a little red light. That fault light will stay on until it lights properly. If it fails to light, the fault light will not go off, and you have to reset it. And you reset it by turning it off, and it did just light. I just heard it, and the light went off. But I would reset it by turning the water heater switch off, pausing a few seconds, and trying it again. All right? I have left the water heater on electric earlier today, and I'm going to show you that we have hot water. Okay, no water. You got to pull away. This is a sprayer style, and I'm using your water pump. And so what our hope is that Libby and I can get it where you can see in the camera that we have steam, which proves that we have tried our best. If it's going to fail, we want it to fail here, okay? So I can see the steam, and hopefully you can in the video. Sometimes we can, sometimes it doesn't work out where you see it. That is hot water. Okay, so gas on the stove and oven, we talked about, does not apply on the refrigerator, talked about on the water heater. Now, as bad as I hate to do it to Libby and I'm going to turn this back to furnace. So I'm going to get to my mode, and I'm going to go to heat. And I'm going to turn this up pretty warm. And here sometime in the next few seconds to a couple minutes, you will hear the furnace come on. No filter on the furnace. Okay, there it came on. No filter on the furnace. Yes, we do still have filters on the air. On this particular one, this is the filter. You're going to take it down and clean it regularly, and put it back up. This is a Furrion air conditioner. So furnace, no filter. And you should know on this, it's blower. It is not even heating. It does not work that way. You may be warmer in one area than another. Depends on the furnace duct location, and we cannot do anything about that. When we camp, we typically take with us an electric heater to supplement. Some areas it's cooler, and obviously in yours you can use the fireplace to supplement the heat as well. All right, it is already getting warm in here, so I'm going to turn this back down. And I'm going to try to get this back to the mode for my air conditioner so that I can be more comfortable, okay? So here in the future, you will hear that come on. All right. Gas bottles, we have filled them, but we have consumed some out while I've rechecked this morning. So you have almost 2 full bottles, minus a little bit that I have run out. When it comes to electrical, let's talk about that. This sheet is going to remind you of simple concepts. Again, I mentioned this in my introductory video. You've got to know, if you call us, do you have power? And first of all, we're going to know that I have 12 volt current. And that's obvious because these lights are working. And then I need to know, do I have power coming in? And it's obvious on this one because of the microwave power. But here's what I did that will help you troubleshoot a little further. Okay, I'm going to give you a 50 to 30 adapter. If you already have one, please give it back. This is not something the company gives. This is something I want you to make sure you have in case you need it. But if you already have one, again, please return this back to us. I'm going to make a note because I do not remember them already ordering that cover. Right, so I will make another note to make sure they get that done. All right, guys, getting back this unit. It's a 4-prong 50 amp. Like the little unit you had was not that way. So on the 4 prongs, 2 are hot legs. How can I know that power coming in is coming into both? That only proves one. So down here at your breakers and fuses below the fireplace, you push really hard to get in, and in the center is the 50 amp, and off this way to the left is a hot leg, and off to the right is a hot leg. And what I've looked to see, if this is labeled properly, they show the microwave on the hot leg off to the right, and they show the fireplace on the one off to the left. So here's my clue to you. Microwave comes on, check, I've got one hot leg. If the fireplace will come on, then I have proven that I have the other hot leg, okay? If you're going to call us for help and you don't know the information I've discussed, you've really wasted a call to us because we have to know that to help you. You go one step further. If you're on a 50 amp and you're having electrical issues and you have a 30 amp available to you, get this adapter out, plug into 30. If the item that wasn't working will work now, it is not the RV. Guys, it is something in the campground post. Many times at a campground on 50 amp they have 2 breakers, not a double throw like we have in here. And that will throw you for a loop if you don't understand that concept, okay? So the troubleshooting tips, top paragraph LP, the others deal with electrical. The final note I have on here is get a deluxe surge protector. Some type of surge protector is really a good item. It will prevent a lot of problems with these electronics. And the good ones, they actually have diagnostics built into it. Man, that air feels great, doesn't it? All right. So some general concepts. Remember what I said, 50 amp may have 2 hot legs. What can I run off a 50 amp with? A lot more than you can off a 30. So Dorothy, on 30 amp, you have the 3-prong 30 amp, you can run 2 major appliances. And a major appliance in this coach is the water heater on electric, the fireplace, the microwave, the air. Okay, that's 4 items right there. No, you cannot run them all at the same time. If you have 50 amp, you're going to try and prove you can. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you can. So on 50 amp, I try all I can until I prove I can't do it. 50 is actually 100 amp peak because it's 50 per hot leg, guys. That's what's nice. Look how big those terminals are as compared to the 30 amp. 30 amp is not 220. I do not know where you live now if you're putting in a 30 amp, but if you do, you need to show this to the electrician. He will probably wire it wrong if you don't, and it will cause damage in the thousands of dollars on a unit. Okay? 30 amp is not 220. So not where a welder was, not where a dryer was. 30 amp is not 220. If you would like us to help troubleshoot and you have an ice pick tester, voltmeters, things like that, we can and will try to help you by phone to troubleshoot. This unit does have a detachable power cord, and if you've had as many units as you say you have, you probably had that on some, but had pull-out cords on the others. This is detachable. We tell people there's no reason to show up here for service without that cord. We're going to send you back home to get it, but don't leave here without making sure you have it as well. All right. Libby, let's you and I start here in the bedroom area, showing things and working back. This is for help if you ever want to put a second air. I cannot imagine doing it, but you could up there. These lights are LED, so they're not pulling much power. They're not putting off much heat. Many of these have the individual switches. I will go and say that in this unit, I think near the entry door, and maybe in the compartment, I think this has 2 motion lights, and on those motion lights, if it's a 3-position switch, off is in the center, 1 hash is normal on, 2 hashes are the motion portion of it. This bed lifts. I like the way Alta does this. It's really neat because it gives you a place like to put a clothes hamper, gives you drawers in here, so I actually like it done this way much better than the traditional way. Wish it was this way on the 5th floor we use. For travel, you must latch these. If you don't, they're going to beat back and forth in travel, and it will end up pulling this off or bending it. Had a 5th wheel 3 or 4 weeks ago. A person didn't have it latched, and it was all we could do to salvage that door and that rack. This switch here will turn off the lights on the ceiling if you remember to leave the switches on up above. So I would suggest not touching these 2 and doing it from here. In the bedroom, you do have a TV location. It will be impacted by what I do with the booster at the TV that I'm going to show you in a minute. So whether it's sending TV reception back here or cable will be impacted by that. They haven't changed on me here in the bedroom. I believe the lower positioning is the antenna cable one, and I think the upper is for satellite, but don't quote me on that. All right, of course, normal fan here, nothing unusual. I'm using one of these now, and we're really liking this style of closure. All right, they seal this, but it's more for looks. You do not have to keep that sealed. It overlaps. But as you're using, if you're getting any water on the floor, you do have to keep this sealed on the outside around like this, or you will get some water out here. We don't use the loop because that restricts what you can do with the shower hose. This does have the pause button on it. Yes, it's going to continue to weep water. If your husband continues to tighten here or there, he's going to break something, so that's made to weep out. That's the anti-siphon device. In travel, I'm going to set that down like that. We want toilets to hold water, and how do they do that? Well, you keep them good and clean, and it's amazing how long you can go with leaving water. If you have sufficient water in the toilet, you can go a long time. The 5th wheel that's down at our house right now has been there probably close to 2.5, maybe 3 months. I have not yet drained the black tank. It's time to do it. But I had a lot of water in there starting out with chemical. Most people put insufficient water. I cannot stress enough the importance of gallons and gallons of water already in the black tank before you start using it. Then when you dump it, use that black flush to rinse out what is soft. It will not rinse out hardened stool and tissue. Limit the tissue going down the toilet, and whether he knows it or not, you probably do, that you can push down lightly and continue to add water. Limit the tissue going down that toilet, and it needs to be RV style. Same idea on the light here is what I talked about in the bedroom area. A ground fault, some of these 50 amps have 2, so we may see another one somewhere else. If 5 outlets not working, I'm going to go check that. I know people forget it because last week one of the customers called with outlets not working and just acted like it was news to them about a ground fault, which meant what? They didn't listen. All right, so just showing you these things function. Same way with this door, needs to be latched for travel. If you don't, I promise you it beats them to death. Maybe I think I'm going to turn that air just a little warmer, if that's okay. I am getting cold. It may have the issue kicks off, it may not. All right, at least it dropped this fan speed down. Okay. This needs to be down when you bring the slide room in. If you don't, you may find, I didn't double check this, but a lot of time that part will hit. So have that down for travel. Stove hood light, stove hood fan. Hopefully you can hear that over the air conditioner noise. I'm going to run the microwave for just an instant. I have nothing in it, so I won't go for long. 10, 9, 8, stop, okay? And cancel. All right, the refrigerator. This is a complete different concept from what you've had before. This is an all 12 volt. And by the way, some of these notes are going to remind you like about the stove sparker. You've got to turn this clockwise. You cannot turn it counterclockwise. I have a note about this refrigerator that's really important. This is where the husbands need to know. This purposely at the back, the shelf does not go all the way to the back so that you do not cram it full. If you cram the freezer full, it will not work properly. It will freeze up. The fan cannot push it down. And so what will happen in the back of the refrigerator, you have water running down. You do not cram the freezer full, and you should leave air space in the refrigerator as well. Purpose for that is for that reason, okay? And you can affect the temperature. You can control things here. You control it in here. If you want to turn this refrigerator off, you have to hold it a full 10 seconds or turn it back on a full 10 seconds. This refrigerator, this magic shelf, is actually provided by a company called Way, W-A-Y, Interglobal. If you want to understand more, go to their website, Way Interglobal. If you have a question about it, call them. They're usually good with answering questions for customers, okay? All right, I'm going to come back up to the thermostat. And what I had done on this air, I left it in the auto position. That way the fan can choose. It will choose to be off completely if the thermostat's satisfied. It'll choose low speed if you're within a couple degrees of desired temperature, and it puts high speed on the fan if you're more than a couple degrees difference. Now, that worked to show you that it's operating because you know it's functioning because of the way it's kicked on and off with me. But let me tell you, in hot temperatures, guys, we do not like you using auto or low. Basically, when we hit the warm summer temperatures, you should run it with the fan on high, the speed, so you got it in the cool mode, but you choose the fan speed to be high, and what that does is it makes that fan run all the time. It's less likely to ice up on you, okay? Furrion may not be as bad as some of the other brands, but like Dometic, they're terrible if you don't run them on high. Coleman's kind of in between. I do not have enough experience yet with Furrion to know, but if you want to be safe, you run that fan in the high position in those summer months with high humidity. Alto should only be used as the temperatures are more moderate, or you choose a higher temperature. If you're not getting it very cold in here, that works fine. All right, so you see me do the thermostat. I did go ahead and pull the Furrion since I know less about them. I did pull this out for you to read up on. It's got some troubleshooting in here. But Furrion, which is a subsidiary of Lippert, again, so Lippert, LCI1.com is their website. They provide on this one, I believe, the awning. They do this. They do the slides, to my knowledge. I think that's correct on this one. All right, so I'll have that out with your information. All right, Libby, I think I'll have you come over to the couch for the time being. Let me show them the electronics here. So, Miss Cherry, the antenna on this one is stationary. You don't rotate. If you've had a lot of them, you know, in the years you crank them up or rotate, you don't. This one is stationary. You don't have to do anything with it. The booster for it is in behind here, if I remember right from looking a few days ago. So right on this wall is where the coax connection is, and the booster light, the green, we call it boosters, technically just an off-on switch, signal amplifier switch. So it's really choosing cable or antenna. The amplification now is actually up in the antenna. So, all right, I'm going to make the TV come on. I want you to see it work so that we prove we've had it working, and then I'm going to show you a tip on going back with it. And I think I've got it there. All right. Okay, that's 6.2 WPSD. I'll show you a clearer picture with 6.1. Okay, I'm going to turn the booster off. Watch what happens. So that freezes up, and I'm going to turn it back on. I'll push this back into place. Watch where my hands are. Okay, that popped in, right? And I didn't break the screen, so let me discuss some things with you. That needs to be in that position, pushed back. There's a little C back there, and it clamps onto it. So I have to have my hands here. If you let your hands touch it all on this screen, it's going to break the screen. That would not be warranted. We have people do that. I've done it one time. I was determined after that not to do it. You saw the TV working. We cannot help it when you get to places like LBL and you get no reception. My 3 notes dealing with the TV specifically reminds you about the booster light, on for antenna, off for cable. It reminds you that you may have to have a cable, or the cable company may have to provide you with a box of some type for digital, and we cannot help that. And then this is a stationary antenna. All right, I'm going to put these in this second kitchen drawer, and I'm going to put the other remotes after showing me there as well. So Libby knows, I always say, if somebody calls back asking where the remotes are, we know they didn't watch the video. This does have a remote for the fireplace, or like you saw earlier, I can do it there. And this now is an electric heater. That's putting off electric heat, which Libby and I do not need currently. And then the radio. Now these remotes on these radios are finicky on this style, this elongated. It's going to come up like here on where the radio station is, and it'll finally say goodbye, but sometimes I get tired of trying to find the place to make them work. But there we go, I got it, welcome. But it's usually off on this side where evidently where the sensor is. Okay, did I do it twice and it said goodbye? I didn't pay attention.
I think, probably.
Sometimes I'll hit them twice. All right, radio, there we go. So 2 zones. One is this speaker bar, and 2, as you can hear in the background, is outside. So there's the indicator. And you can turn it off here as well. But this one, this remote drives me crazy. It's always a characteristic of those style. It's very limited on the position that will actually let it sense it. All right, let's talk about a few things that slide and work this way. So we have this location. This table really for transit. You may want to consider putting it down. It is affixed at the back. It's got different legs here. That's debatable on that part. Where Libby is sitting now on the couch, that is a glide-out couch. Works very well. Take the backs off, so the 2 pillows, the backs are not used, and get down below with your hands, and it will kind of glide forward. It makes a pretty nice bed for an RV. On the theater seats, storage here, and you know you do them like this. If sometimes one doesn't come out, I may have to pull harder or kind of pop it with my hand or feet. When I go back down, I usually kind of cut my feet underneath that and go in place. On the shades, I want you to use 2 hands. You can do one and let go, but I'm telling you, I like this. 2 hands, fold it up so it doesn't beat. If you want shades to last, 2 hands are the best method of doing that. All right, smoke alarm here, LP alarm down below. Do not disable either of them. Smoke alarm uses 9 volt. That one down below is wired in a 12 volt current. Please keep them functioning. I mean, I just got a trade in. And I know the person, they traded it in, and the smoke alarm was disabled, no 9 volt battery. That was just foolish. Okay? All right, on the actual monitor panel, you've had these before. Battery is a false indicator. It really does me no good because if I'm plugged into power, the built-in battery charger at the converter is faking me out. It makes you think you can take the battery off and it'll still give you a full charge. And then this one has a solar panel. So that even further complicates. So really, you're probably not going to use this battery indicator. This past week, I had somebody get fooled by that, and I had to try to explain to them why they had to ignore that. Fresh, we have water right now at 2/3. You can't see it, you're listening to what I'm saying, but black is at 1/3. We have gray at 1/3, and gray 2 at 1/3. When I go out, and this is a new unit, I don't even mind open the black, I'll open those valves and show you that we have water in the system just to prove it. So we have the water pump switch here that you're accustomed to, the water heater switch that I talked about with gas, and there's my fault light that's on right now, but will go off here in a minute when it lights. When I come into this unit, I can hit this switch. As long as I've left these on up above, several lights will come on. The awning lights I'm going to leave on. They serve as your porch light, and I'll show you that in a minute. The accent light is this light above the slide. All right, water heater lit again. I can hear it in the background, and the fault light just went off. Okay, so let's talk about the awning and the slide. Do not leave an awning extended unless you're out there with it. It's that simple. No, we do not go to bed at night and leave one out. And no, we don't walk away into somebody else. And no, we don't sit out there with it and it be much rain or wind. It's just that simple. I cannot get over how many people do not listen on that. And even my customers, me being firm, almost mean about it. When they come back and they need an awning, I don't feel sorry for them one bit if they've chosen to ignore me. So I'm going to extend it just a little. You realize it's to my advantage to let you tear it up because I get to sell an awning. I don't want somebody to do that. So I'm going to extend it a little. And I'm looking to see that nothing is going to interfere. You know, at a campground, somebody can pull up. I'm serious, with a golf cart's one of the most common things. And you got to make sure both ends are starting to extend. If they're not, you're going to pull on one. This will project 8 feet. You can see the awning LED light strip that also serves as a porch light. You probably know you can clean these with Tilex. You can clean them with a diluted bleach solution. Don't get it on you, and try to keep it off the sides of the trailer. When you're out a full 8 feet with this, I'm not going out, but you know the principle. When I get it out to full 8 feet, I can push up here, tighten the knob up, and what that will do is put some pitch or tilt, but that will not prevent damage if there's much rain or wind. It is not warranty. I got to say that over and over to people so they listen to me. I'm going to use that pitch or tilt mainly if the sun is coming in at an angle and I can pitch it, that's going to help me. Or if there's some air conditioner condensate coming off on the side. But otherwise, this old boy has his awning up. If there's much rain or wind, no way am I going to leave it out. Let me retract this. If you've used the pitch feature, remember to loosen the knob before you try to bring it up. All right, leave him and let you come on back in. Okay, on the slide. The things I would like you to know about the slide. It uses 12-volt current. So if you don't have good 12-volt current, it's not going to work. You have one slide on this unit. It's on the driver's side. So Dorothy, I wish the two of y'all would remember, try to set up marginally low to the driver's side. Nothing dramatic, but certainly not high on the driver's side. So level to just a little low on the driver's side, which will encourage water to run off of that slide. You cannot use the jacks for leveling. The jacks are for stabilization. We don't want to bend them. So I'll hook to the vehicle, I'll get to the campsite, I'll analyze it, and on this coach found it just a little bit low to the driver's side. Then I would unhook from the vehicle, use the front jack to get it the way I want it, and then I would extend jacks down the corners for stabilization, push the slide out, hit the slide button. The floor needs to be swept clean. If there's any debris, you will tear the floor almost weekly. We have to have a man come by to repair vinyl floors where people have forgotten and they dropped debris or they've had rocks on their feet, and so it's very common, but we like to avoid that. So sweep the floor clean, limit the weight. Livy's very light. I will move this slide with her in it. But I wouldn't take 3 or 4 of our heavy guys, honestly, and let them sit there. This unit has great storage underneath the booth. That needs to be lightweight items. It does not need to be heavy. I'm going to run this in a little. I'm not going to do it all the way, so I'm not going to put that extension down. I want you to hear the type of noise associated with it. Gaskets, you're going to hear them. You'll hear them as they sweep back and forth. All right, I'm going to go back out, and I want you to hear the noise at the very end. This is what I really want to stress. Hear the clicking noise, you let off. That means stop. If you continue, it's going to override the system and you're going to have to manually move it. On some models, we can have a port, but on many of them, you have to get underneath the unit and get to that motor or get to the shaft and do a little bit of adjusting to get it to move, okay? So when you hear that clicking noise, stop, whether it be all the way in or all the way out. It does not hurt in this one to change direction at any point. Some slides, we do not do that. Gaskets need to be making sure that they're swept outward. If you're going to be there for very long, you don't need them to be where they're part way in. You can create a water leak. So let's reiterate because it's important. Good 12-volt current. Listen for the clicking noise. Limit the weight. Floor swept clean. Gaskets swept outward. Keep the gaskets clean. You can use Dawn dishwashing detergent. That is an accepted method to keeping those clean. And keep the ends of slides clean in general. Okay? Cabinet-wise, I'm seeing as I walk by, that layer at the bottom is supposed to be pet-friendly. So if you wonder about that drawer at the bottom, that's what that deals with. General information on water. So here's what I would like you to do, and you may already practice this. Use a pressure regulator, and then I would use a disposable sediment filter, and then the water hose. If you do not use a disposable filter, at times you'll get debris in here and it can stop up those faucets. Sewage hose. All right, don't see one in here. Sorry guys, forgot. Listen, we got to make sure we get one in, Libby. Okay. Now if you kept your one out of your other trailer, then give it back to me again. But I want us to have one out here for you because I do not want you to be without a sewage hose. So I will make me a note, Libby and I, to bring out a sewage hose. But again, if you kept the one from your other unit, then please give this one back. But I do not want you to get somewhere without one. Keep the better of the two is what it amounts to. Sewage hose, I have no problem with you being hooked to the campsite, but I do not want black running out all the time. Gray is okay. You have 2 gray tanks. If you want to hook it up such that you can have them both running out, they're fine and dandy with that, but not on the black. The black, we want to retain water, and when we dump it, hopefully there will be so much water to wash out the solids in the tissue. These sheets will remind you how to winterize when the time comes. Here is the concept on this unit. It's a Suburban water heater. It takes the 1 1/16 socket to drain the water heater. Make sure you turn the electric element off. It's located on the outside. We do not want that on in the wintertime and burn up the element. The water heater has a bypass valve on it, or bypass valves. So we've got notice here. Behind the docking center on the driver's side front compartment, and I'll show you that later, is where the water pump is, and I'll try to show you the concept on the valves and where you can suck water. But also, in this area underneath the kitchen sink, we have the little pan, we have the access panel off, and you can see in here the water heater. There are two valves. They are both right now pointed towards the water heater. When it comes time, and this is the piece that goes back up if you want to put it back. When it comes time to winterize it, you're going to turn them about 90 degrees, two valves. So this can be put back in place. Some people put them up, some don't. Some want to leave it where they can just easily get into there. But that's what this access panel is that we have underneath the kitchen sink. And our guys may put that up, they may not. That just depends on the particular one that closes it up. All right. These sheets are very detailed. If you follow them, there's no reason to pay a dealer to winterize one. And again, we walk around the outside, I will show you what I'm talking about on that pump. I'll turn it a little warmer. A cooler, I'm sorry, because I am starting to get a little warmer. Some general notes we want to talk about. This roof we call rubber. It is not. It's a blended material like TPO, but here's the principle. We don't want you to silicone the roof. So you need to remind your husband, Miss Cherry, that silicone is great to use, and you ought to have it to use on the sides, on windows, corner moldings, compartment doors, but don't use it on the roof. On the roof, use rubber roof sealant or rubber roof tape. And you need to be careful when you're up there. It is really, really slippery on a wet day, and on a sunny day, if it's bright, it will blind you. We absolutely expect leaks, but if you're prepared with the right materials, you stop one in its tracks, so to speak. Again, remember the water heater electric element switch is located outside in the lower left-hand corner of this Suburban water heater. Concerning manuals, there are some paper manuals in this bag, but less and less. More are expected to be done online. That's what this sticker on your sink cover is. It reminds you to go to Forest River's website, and remember what I said, go to Wayenter Global on the refrigerator. Go to Furrion Lippert on the air conditioner. Suburban on the water heater. Those are helpful sources to understand the use of them. We ask all of our customers to help us help a children's home. I was on the board for 6 years until my time ran up. But New Pathways for Children have over 20 children trying to build a new house that's about $750,000. So we need help doing that. And so I'm going to put this in here. I hope you and your husband are touched and will give some money to help New Pathways. You do have a solar panel in this unit. I do not remember the wattage, but here's the principle. In the driver's side front compartment, there will be a little readout, and it will tell you the voltage. Here's the general concept. If you look in there and it's 14.8 or higher, somewhere in that range or higher, disable the solar panel. That's being hard on the whole system. What we like to see on that solar panel is in the upper 12s, 13s, maybe lower 14s. But that solar panel is trying to keep the battery charged. It's not some whole house solar panel. But if you're out primitive camping and maybe you only turned on a light or two, maybe a fan, you might get by with it. It's not some massive panel, but it is to help keep that battery charged. Check the batteries. I do not remember what style is on these. If it is a style with caps and you don't check it and you let it run with it dry, it will run that battery. It will ruin that battery, and it will be hard on the power converter, on the transformer that on this unit is located there at the breakers and fuses. Guys, you need to avoid Saturdays when it comes to service. If you want us to help you with service, Saturday is not the day to do it. We cannot call east to west on a Saturday. About the only people on a Saturday I have a chance of reaching is usually Lippert. So we don't keep full service on Saturdays. Remember that, okay? Saturdays is not the day for help. When you bring a unit in for service, please bring your power cord. When you leave after service is done, make sure you have it. Make sure you have any adapters. We don't want to shortchange you. If we've serviced it, we need it picked up within 7 working days. That is so that we have space for other people. We only service to somebody like you that's bought from us. But man, we keep overwhelmed with service. We don't need any more service than what we've got. But when it's done, we need to have the space, please, for the next one. The video I'm giving to you is provided to you only. It is not to be shared on the media any other way. And some items and methods over time will be better ways than what I'm telling you. Be listening, be looking for those ways. What about warranty? This is from Forest River. Forest River has what they call a limited warranty. They say that wording because they want to make sure you understand you have requirements of maintaining it. The biggest thing on maintenance would be what? Winterization. Don't let it freeze and burst. Winterization is at the top of the list with almost with preventing rain leaks. And so you have to inspect gaskets and seals regularly. They say every 1 to 3 months. Just look at them. Visual is all that's needed. Get up on the roof and check for roof seals. Check to see, have you snagged the roof on anything that may need a patch. It's okay. Just catch it early. So other warranties. If they don't make a change right now, Furrion is giving 2 years on the air conditioner. Suburban is giving 2 years currently on the water heater, but we have no control over that. Forest River doesn't. Lion's Head has been the provider of tires and wheels, and they have some coverage past second year. The material used on the roof, some coverage past second year, but I don't bank on it. I'm confident in the first year. Everything beyond that I consider a plus. And I may have seen on your ticket you may have bought a protective plan. If you do, here's what you gain with the protective plan. It is longer coverage of mechanical items, not wear. So in the first year, if that couch goes bad, that's covered under Forest River's plan. But if we're after that, even if you bought protective, it does not cover that. Protective is for a refrigerator, for a furnace, for a water heater, not one you let freeze and burst. It's for a microwave. It's for that fireplace. It's for radio, but not for speakers. So wear items are not covered. Speakers are a wear item. Lights are a wear item. On your awning, the canvas is a wear item, but the motor is covered, okay? So Protected works. It's a great company. If you're nationwide, out with it. It's $100 deductible, but you must get them involved. If you bring it back to us and we're involved, it will be a $50 deductible, and we know protocol. Protocol is important with Protected. Do it in the manner that they say, and you will have no hassle whatsoever with them paying what you're due. If you choose a protective plan, that's great. We do make some money off of it, but what we like is keep people from being angry when they have a 3-year-old unit and the air goes out, or the refrigerator, and they tend to take it out on us. So that's the reason we like that. The water lines currently, Miss Cherry, are not leaking. If they were, that pump would be burping on, right? And it's not. So we know currently it is not leaking. You see me use, or heard me use, I should say, both the furnace and the air. So the best of our ability, we try to catch problems, just like you know in this one. We know the original air was not operating properly. The guys caught that, and so they replaced it. You have a sewer flush on this, a black flush. I have some notes about it. Take it serious. Do not leave a water hose hooked to it all the time. That's a no-no. But it is a great way to quickly rinse one out and quickly reintroduce water to a system. Please do not leave a water hose hooked to the black tank flush. When retracting a slide during or after rain, it is very possible that you'll have some water on the floor. Wipe it up. If you're experiencing it all the time when set up, like permanent side or something, then something's going on. You're either high on that side or gaskets flipped the wrong way or something like that. I have some notes on here on slide room lubrication. The number one thing, though, is keeping them clean. You have 3 waste tanks, so if something is not draining, Miss Cherry, you probably have one of the gray valves that has not been opened. This has a blue coiled hose. That blue coiled hose needs to be winterized, and any place it can hook up to needs to be winterized. And we already had people this year coming in that forgot that last fall and have had damages they've had to repair. So remember the blue hose, to hook it up for winterization. If it won't go into place, I've got a note reminding you here how to free it up if it's seized up. All right, you actually did your paperwork today, so none of that applies. 3 means do not wait to the last minute. We cannot, it just drives me crazy when somebody has a really special trip plan. They're going to leave on a Friday night, and they don't hook it up and start checking things until Friday morning. That's a blunder. 3 days before a trip, somebody needs to be checking it out, and maybe if there's a problem, we can get a part in for you and get you resolved. And we would appreciate Google and Facebook. That is the way we sell a lot of our units. Today I know one of them was sold was in Ohio. We've got a motorhome leading here in a little bit that's going to Florida. They see those Google and Facebook reviews, and they compare them to Example Camping World, and they see the difference. All right, we're about to walk outside and show you a few things there. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I have to hold on the mode button, and then that will end up canceling it out as you heard, okay? Let's see. the jacket back on. It's a little outside, just a little windy. All right, concerning keys, there are 4 purple keys, obviously, and what they're going to be is 2 are going to be for this, what I call in the back door. It's at the front of the unit, but we consider it like the least used door is the one in your bedroom. So you have 2 for it and 2 for the main entry back here by your monitor panel. And if I own this unit, one of the front doors, one's at the front of the unit, which is again more like a back door to the house, could not use much. I would hide that outside in the water heater or something, so that you can always get in, and then you can divide out the other 2. But it takes, if you want a full set, it takes a purple key for the rear door, purple key for the door on the front of the passenger side. It takes a black Bauer key for the compartments, and a little CH751 will be, if I'm not mistaken, for the storage right there at the steps. All right, so let's step out here and talk about the main entry. Let's come out here and show you a few things, guys. So this unit does have storage here at the main door, and this is where the little silver key is used, okay? Right in this one. Actually, I had it upside down. It will be storage that you can get to at the steps up. So the steps, to get them up, I want the door open. Hey, this has resistance built in. If it won't stay there, it's too windy a day, you're gonna have to close the door. But have this swept clean so you don't take debris in. Okay? When I come back down with it, you're gonna release it here, come down, extend these legs, but don't overextend them. If you extend them too far, this will interfere, this threshold portion will interfere with the bottom of the door and it won't close properly. For travel, I want you to always use the deadbolt. And I do not know which set of keys it is, so this is a 380. We'll see if it's this one. And it is. So 380 for the back door. That's what I want done. And since this one even has this, I would do that. On the front door, you're only going to be locking the deadbolt. When you get here for service, you've got to unlock the deadbolt. We can get in with this, but we cannot get with the other. This is the key right here. This is the part, the paddle, where you get locked out. That's the one, because if I pull my key out in the horizontal position, it's relocked. And if you go inside with your keys and come out later, you have locked yourself out. Okay? Tell you what, it's warmer than I thought. That's why I had to run that air.
It's warm out here.
It is warm. They were right on the temperature. Fiberglass, I don't want a pressure sprayer, so no car wash. Decals don't wax across, but it's great if you'll wax the white portion. That's fantastic. You can put a sewage hose in here, as you probably know. That blue coil hose, it can be brought around here to give you cold water, but if you forget to winterize it, I promise you're going to remember in the spring, just like we already some customers doing. So the blue hose I'm going to show you later can come around and be used right here on this rear of this coach. I'm lightweight for a man. You are, Miss Cherry, so if you want to get up there and climb, I don't know how big he is. He's a large man, he doesn't need to, but somebody needs to periodically climb and check the roof, the condition, check the sealants, check to see if you've scuffed the roof on anything. You can add a backup camera. They're improving, but they're not perfect. This is your 50 amp cord that goes with it. Make sure it's good and collared up, good and snug, please. You're less likely to have a loose connection if you'll take time to do that. All right, the rear jacks, there are 2 switches on this particular model at the rear. So one will do one side, one will do the other. So I'm doing this one on the driver's side, obviously. So when you get to the campsite and you're already set up level, you'll put these down for stabilization. Guys, if you continue to push, at some point you'll bend these yellow arms, and that would not be warranty. And we don't like to have to tell somebody that, but it is not warranty if you bend those yellow support arms. It is warranty if a motor goes bad, not if you bent those arms. Over the years, it's important this stays silicone because water runs in. We see it almost weekly. We get used units through in all brands, and this will have not been checked, and the floor is soft right here. We pose need to stay clean. Keep this silicone in good shape along through here. Okay. This is lines here talking about the tires and wheels. So on the tires and wheels on this unit, I'll tell you what, I'll show that on the other side, but I'll go and talk about the warranty here. So first year, no big deal. Some things beyond that you may have coverage, but Lionshead wants to talk directly to you instead of through us. So if you have a problem with the tire or wheel, Lionshead wants you to remember the sticker, and they want you to call them and talk with them directly. They've in the past put a brochure in the owner's manuals. I didn't look to see if it was still in there. If you can't get through them, we don't mind supplying the number, but they want to talk with you if you have a tire problem. All right, so outside light at the end. Okay, you can see we got the cap off, no water's running out, which means what? That the valves are doing their job. And back up underneath here. So here's one gray valve, okay? All right. These pulls, this is a more winterized valve system with them up in the unit. And what I would encourage you to do with that is to remember, use them enough that you keep that valve where it will move. It will seize up or freeze up on you, kind of like you do with that old lawnmower. You know how they'll throw it up on the tables? So if you don't use them at all, you'll end up creating issues. But I wanted you to see that we put a lot of water in this unit. You can see by looking there at that. All right, black tank flush. This is the one that I don't want you to goof up. That is not city water. Do not leave a hose hooked to it. And you can see these are jack switches. In one, this one is this size, and then the motor is switched for the other one. Freshwater tank drain will be, as this sticker indicates, the white spigot down below by the blue pipes. It will drain your fresh tank. In this area where we do most of the water source, it takes the black Bauer key. Hey, if you have a hard time with any keys, pull out some type of lubrication, WD-40 or silicone spray. Don't fight that and tear these up, okay? This has a magnetic holder. All right, so in this front, they have a couple of handles. One would be the small one if you need to manually crank the front power jack. This other one will be used if they've not changed on me, if you had to manually crank one of the 4 stab jacks. This I do not like you to use because it's not as stable. That's for the front jack. Don't use it. It makes it less stable and it slides. So I wish you wouldn't use that. This little cover will go over the front power jack if you want to put that on. Here's the blue coil hose. It can be used either here at the outside shower, which you can see the water dripping, which lets you know that we've done that. Okay, so we used it here, and you can use it around the other side. Guys, you're going to bring your hose and things up through this bottom. Make a good connection on the fresh water, or especially on the city water. If you're going to be hooked up for a long time to city water, you don't have a good connection, it drips down, you're going to risk getting some of this on here, even with all the silicone that we seal in there. So have a good connection. It doesn't hurt to get a 45-degree hose saver and leave it on there all the time, or a little flexible. But have a good connection. If it's going to drip, make sure it drips directly into this pan so it gets out. Try to avoid any dripping. So this fills your freshwater tank, the white one. And the one in here that's black is the city water. And you have the black tank flush back there on the side of the coach. We have a solar panel. Let's come around this way, Libby. And like right now, it's showing 13.5. That's fantastic. Okay? So right here in the sun, it's trying to keep the battery charged. Obviously, there's a built-in battery charger on the converter. But if I unplugged the unit and turned everything else off, maybe left one light on or so, it would be able to keep up with that. The battery disconnect, not much use for this probably in your case because you have the solar charger. But if I got home, could not plug up the power to keep the battery charged, and I was in a barn or something where there was no solar, then I would turn it off. It will still discharge. Make sure you heard that. It will still discharge, but it won't be quite as quickly. You have cable and satellite in here as well. You have a little switch here for the front lights, if I remember right on this one. Yes. Okay. And then we have the panel off. So Libby, let's let you shine in here and let's see what this is about. We have this access panel down, and here's a hose, and there are 2 valves, and you're going to turn those valves the opposite direction when it comes time to winterize. You set your antifreeze in there, and you can draw antifreeze by using that short hose and turning the 2 valves the opposite direction. Bottle covers can be lifted up by wind going down the road. The wider you spread these bottles, the less life gives to happen, and you can use a little stretch cord underneath. Obviously, this one's got a battery on it. Remember to check and see if this is one that needs water added periodically. And look what they've added here that's pretty neat. To keep these up off the ground, that's a new concept. Again, manual cranking from this position. Light on, light off. Front end is a great place. If you'll wax this, it will help keep bugs off. It really makes a difference if you'll wax this portion and the ease of getting them off. In this compartment on this side, you have another magnet latch. You have an outlet, and then this light turns on this way. The one on the other side, I didn't double check, but it was a motion light, okay? The other side is going to be a motion light. I'm almost 100% sure on that. We would use the same black Bauer key, and we knew if the Bauer was the 380, that's what that number was I said, and this one's got to be different. Looks like 368. All right. Well, there's dead bolted now. That's what you can do going down the road. On the water heater, this is where you're going to drain it. It's also where we're going to turn the electric off and on. So I'm going to switch down here. I'm going to have it in the off position now. There's the anode. It's going to look nasty when you pull it out. No, that's not a used part. We've already had water in there, so yes, it's going to already look bad. I'm going to hide these keys in there. Okay, that's a great place for them. Make sure when you leave that you get them. This is outside output on a TV, so output and output. Now here's the thing you have to know. Think of these multiple places for the TV. That reduces the chance of getting reception, and that's why I don't like these calls back from people saying they can't get reception. I didn't expect you to. Most places I go, I don't get them either. Cannot help that. Actually, the little trailer you checked in has a better chance, a small one like that, of getting reception, because you usually only have one port. It's only a few feet of coax. With these bigger units, I get a big 40-foot fifth wheel, and they got 5 locations. Drives me crazy, us trying to figure out how to get reception to them. All right. Oh, they haven't put the piece back on there. All right, so we've got to get that done. But lug nuts, okay, on aluminum wheels, you got to make sure they're tightened periodically, because aluminum is a softer metal than steel. And as you can see, there's a grease fitting here. If you need to get into it, you put a few squirts in, and then you're done with that. Furnace, if you don't buy furnace screens, you get dirt daubers or wasp in it, that is not warranty, okay? So remember, mud dauber screens can prevent a lot of problems. It is not warranty of any type, nor protective if you get dirt daubers or wasp. I think they're $23 or $24 for the furnace screens. In our area, we need them. Some places you don't. All right, guys, that's what I intended to show you. We appreciate your business, and they'll finish up whatever little miscellaneous they've got, and hopefully we'll see you the next day or two. Thank you.